So let's just focus on those last two sentences. They remind us that Jesus did not need anyone to testify to him about human nature because he himself understood it well. In other words, because he is fully human as well as fully divine, Jesus understands our struggles, our faults, our limitations. He knows what we need. This is week 3 of our Needy series. This third week of Lent, we're going to talk about two needs that go together: work and rest. We're meant to live in rhythm between one and the other. This first reading today lists the 10 commandments. Please note that God does not give these commandments as a condition for a relationship with him, but in the context of an existing relationship we have with him. The 10 commandments are to be viewed in the context of our personal relationship with God. I mean, God didn't say, do these 10 things and then we'll talk. God delivered these commandments to the Israelites only after he had demonstrated already his power by parting the Red Sea, rescuing them from slavery, and blessing them abundantly in every way. Basically, God spoils us and then gives us this list of commandments on how we can love like he loves. The commandments themselves reveal God's priority of love. They show not only is God powerful, God is good. Duh. 10 commandments for more successful living. If it was on Facebook, that's what it would be called. They're what make up a good life. The command we're looking at today is remember to keep holy the Sabbath. You guys got it right. 6 days you may labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath day of the Lord your God. No work may be done then by you. And it goes on. In 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is in them. But on the 7th day he rested. That is why the Lord has blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. God worked for 6 days. He created the heavens and the earth and everything in it. Then he created the crown of his creation. That's me. And you, of course. Humanity, right? We are all made in his image and likeness. Then after all the work, God rests. Why? Is he worn out? Is he tired? Does God need a break? No, God rests to set the pace and pattern for how he wants us to live, the proper rhythm in which we function best. God starts with work out of love. He created the world and everything in it, and since we are made in his image and likeness, we're also called to work and create. The commandment assumes an inclination towards work because work is something we naturally desire. Work is not a curse as a result of sin. It's not some kind of punishment. Work is part of the plan, written into the very act of creation and carved on our souls. That is why every man and woman, and yes, every teenager, should work in some way or form. Work is fulfilling. But it's important that we view work in the right way. And there are at least, I'm sure we could come up with a dozen, but there's at least 3 different ways to look at our work. And those 3 ways that we're going to go through: job, career, vocation. First way, job, simply to pay the bills, supply our basic needs. But when that is all it does, that work is not very satisfying, is it? Another way to look is as a career, and this one has a focus on moving up the ladder, making a name for yourself, building a nest egg. This attitude towards work might pamper and please your ego, but it doesn't necessarily satisfy our souls. And the best way, if you can achieve it, to look at work is as a vocation. People who see their work as a vocation or calling see meaning and purpose in it beyond themselves. No matter what their job is, they recognize the real gifts they have and use them in humble service to a greater good, a higher purpose. vocation. This kind of work can be soul satisfying and is a gift from God, if we are fortunate enough to have that. But that's only part of the plan. Work then has to be coupled with rest. And rest gives us the opportunity to enjoy the blessings that God provides. Again, God sets the example in creation, created everything, proclaims it good, then he stops creating and he rests. Rest is not just recreation either, though it can be, like running around with the kids or going running, not necessarily what rest is, okay? Soul-satisfying work must be matched with soul-satisfying rest. This kind of rest refreshes your soul and your spirit and leaves you renewed and equipped to return to your work. We need God to find the soul-satisfying work, and we need to be within God or have God be part of us to be able to enjoy that soul-satisfying rest that he wants us to have. The Lord is my shepherd. He makes me lie down in green pastures. We need God to lead us to rest. And it begins with this weekend worship and coming to Mass. And when you make this a priority on your Sabbath, your Sunday, your day of rest, you're putting your trust in God that he will lead you to a place of rest. And for our part, here in the parish, our top priority is working to create this weekend experience for you so that it helps to serve God's purpose, that you can leave here encouraged, equipped, and maybe even a little inspired to go back out to your life and your work. God has built into our lives these dual needs, work and rest. And when you hear this message, your brain's working away, and you probably know which one it is that you need. Maybe you're working in a job that's just a job, or a career that isn't a calling, and you don't find that soul satisfaction. Please, God, don't quit and say we told you to do it. But maybe you just need to look at what you're doing in a different light, from the perspective of the greater impact that your work actually has, or how you're using your gifts that God gave you to perform this job. And yes, maybe God is calling you to something else. Maybe that satisfaction that you're lacking, that dissatisfaction, is leading you in another direction. Some of our St. Peter staff are actually here because they felt God's call to change their work and join us in serving you. Maybe God is calling you to work in a nonprofit, or maybe God is calling you to the priesthood or the religious life. Whatever it is, listen. And maybe you're a student and all of this is still in your future, or you're retired and you think it's in your past. Pray about it nevertheless, and consider what your work is now and what it will be. Every person at every stage and state of life has work to do. Finally, maybe you're realizing that you need more rest. You don't have a day where you rest. You just don't do it. And you just feel tired all the time, down to your soul. You realize your pace is not sustainable. Begin by asking God to help you find that rest. And if you need suggestions, I've got one. Consider spending some time in adoration. Sit with the Blessed Sacrament. Almost every Friday in our chapel, it's available for us to be able to be present to Jesus and to have Jesus be present to us in real form from 8:30 until 10 p.m. most Fridays. Spend 5 minutes at first. If that's all you can manage, that's fine. That's plenty. Build up your time gradually if you need to. Don't worry about what you're going to do or what you're going to say or what you need to pray about. Just sit and rest with your Creator. That's what you really need.